Hi. So I'm hopping on here to discuss a principle I call the Lancelot principle. So this Lancelot principle comes from my favorite movie, or one of my favorite movies, First Night, with Richard Gere and Sean Connery. And Sean Connery plays King Arthur. He plays this older, in his 70s, uh, King Arthur, and Richard Gere has like really long hair. He plays the Lancelot. And this movie, it's mixed reviews. Some people like it, some people don't. Critics had a lot of problems with it. I highly enjoyed it, and I'm going to sum up like what happens, and then I will say how it's a principle for building a coaching practice. So it's kind of like my main thing that I do to build a coaching practice is this Lancelot principle. So what happens in the movie is Lancelot is this sword for hire. He just wanders around. He doesn't have a home, making money with this sword. And he even got crowds of people come around him, and he fights whatever guy from the crowd, and he always wins. And one of the reasons why he says he wins is he's not afraid. He doesn't care. He says he doesn't care whether he lives or dies. He doesn't care whether he lives or dies. Now that actually isn't the principle. That is a Steve Chandler principle, dying before battle. But it is interesting that Lancelot also has that. Anyway, Lancelot is roaming around, and he finds Guinevere, who is young and attractive and beautiful, and she's married. She's supposed to marry King Arthur, who's just so much older than her, and it's not for love. Although she respects him, she wants to marry him because he's going to give protection to where she's from, Lyonesse. And so, but she has a lot of respect for him, for he's like a cool dude. But it's not love, and it's certainly not attraction. But there's a bad guy in the movie, and he's like trying to he's trying to capture Guinevere, and all these bad guy men like ambush her, and she doesn't have enough men that could like hold them off, so she's kind of screwed. Except there's this guy Lancelot roaming around. He's not part of any army, but he's just an amazing swordsman. He fights them off and saves her. And that's their first introduction. That also would be like the romantic comedy meet cute. Anyway, hello Kendra, hello Miriam. I'm just going through the summary of the movie First Night. This is I'm gonna get to how this relates to coaching, but anyway, so Lancelot, played by Richard Gere, saves Guinevere, played by Julia Ormond. You can just tell it's love at first sight for both of them. They're both attracted to each other. They could both easily like be together and get married. So Kendra, you're ahead of me already. Yes, this is a lot like this coach. I act as a coach just like Lancelot in this movie. So like hang in here with this. So Guinevere is like, I can't, be with you. He's like, he wants to, he just kisses her, and I think you can tell that she likes it. My interpretation is she likes the kiss, but she has a lot of honor and respect for her King Arthur, and so she's like, don't ever kiss me again. And Lancelot says, I will not kiss you ever again until you ask me to. But he's so confident. He's like, but you will. You will ask me to at some point. And she's like, never. Absolutely never. Anyway, he takes her, leads her to, her people, and he goes off his way. She goes off her way. Her way. She doesn't think she's ever going to meet him again, but then he shows up at this tournament at Camelot. Not a tournament. But anyway, there's this, this is like really cool. So there's, oh gosh, what is it called? It's like this obstacle course, like death obstacle course. And nobody is getting very far in it. There's like swinging axes and hammers that come down and swords that come up, and you got to get from one end to the other end without dying. And they're all putting all this armor on, and they're not getting very far. And Richard Gere as Lancelot shows up, and he doesn't want any of the armor. He's like, I don't need any of this. He's not afraid to live or die. He shows up, just starts going through it like, whoa, he's like amazing. And he gets all the way through it. He's doing one of those things where it's like, oh, and the sword flies up like right really close to, but he gets through it. And the reward is you get a kiss from the queen, or the which is Guinevere. And Sean Connery as King Arthur is like super impressed. No one's ever been able to do this. This is amazing. How could you do this? Here, take your reward. But Richard Gere's like, nope, I'm not going to take the reward. He's not going to kiss her. But then he gets real close to her and he's like, ask me. And she's like, never, I'll never do it. I'll never ask you to kiss me. She totally wants to. She just knows she's conflicted because of King Arthur. And so she says no, and then he just kisses her on the hand, and they think he's a super awesome gentleman. And they ask him to stick around in town, so he's like around her even more. So he's around in her hometown, and she kind of doesn't want him to be there. She's too tempted, but he's like going to keep being a presence in her life. And then some bad guys come again, the same bad guys, and steal her and take her to this dungeon, a far off castle, and no one else saves her, but Lancelot does, because he's sticking around. He got some good instincts. He got tipped off somehow. I don't remember that, but he just starts after her, and he's like the only one also enough that can get all the way to this evil lord's castle and make his way in there, and and the end of the thing, he ends up saving her. This was probably the biggest save. He really, because she was a prisoner. And they were going to have, King Arthur was going to have to give up his kingdom to get her back. So then he takes her back to to King Arthur, and he's like, "Oh my God, this is amazing! You are the best ever. I'm going to make you part of this round table." The King Arthur's knights at the round table. And so he agrees, and he takes that. And she's like, oh my God, he just saved my butt again. And then, as part of being on the Knights of the Round Table, he's part of their army now, and her hometown gets those same bad guys take her hometown, and they have to go in and take it back, and he's part of it. It's Richard Gere as Lancelot's part of that, and so then again saves her hometown even. So if we're keeping track, he saves her in the very beginning from bad guys ambushing her. He goes through that obstacle course, which is super impressive. He goes to that bad guy's castle and tricks them and gets her out and saves her again when no one else could. He saves her hometown. And so at that point, you know, then he's like about to leave town, and she's going to they end up having a kiss. So they finally come together. But then there's one more problem. Then King Arthur catches them kissing, and then now she's put on trial, and it's really bad. So there's just one more obstacle for them getting together. And then the bad guys come again one last time. They invade Camelot. They actually show up during that trial, and they surround them, and there are all these bad guys everywhere. King Arthur's like, everybody needs to fight, and they defend themselves, and Lancelot's even in there fighting and helps win. He helps one more time, helps save the entire kingdom. And then King Arthur's like, oh man, you're awesome. Thank you for saving this. He's about to die, actually. He got wounded. But he's right before he dies, he's like, you should and Guinevere should be together, and you should be ruling my kingdom, and you should, you know, you should be with Guinevere. And then they are, and King Arthur dies, and then Guinevere and Lancelot are together. Okay, if you guys are still with me, I had fun summarizing that. If you guys are still with me, so what happened is Lancelot was not afraid to win or die. He knew they had chemistry. He knew to just stay around her, be a presence of her life. He wasn't going to force a kiss on her. He was super around and observing her, and saved her butt multiple times. Saved her butt, saved her kingdom, saved her hometown. Was really impressive, but again, he was aggressive in saving her, but he wasn't aggressive in making her be with him. And then in the end, she just wanted to be with him. There was one more obstacle with King Arthur, but they even overcame that. So, I am going to tell you. So, King Arthur's kind of like her fear. So, if she's the client, prospective client, and he is the coach, and they're building this relationship over time. He keeps helping her. King Arthur kind of represents like your fears or the objections to doing coaching. Like she's just not ready yet. And then eventually those fears go away and she is able to do it. If you can keep just staying in there, saving people's butts over and over and over again, eventually they're going to become your client. As long as you're also not afraid to do that, but you're also not pushing yourself on them. You're just being around, being this presence in their life until they see how helpful you are, until it's like the right timing and the right fit. But you're doing that not just with anybody, but somebody that you felt like you had good chemistry with. Richard Gere thought they were a good fit, and he liked her a lot. So that's why he just wanted to be around her. So anyway, that's my Lancelot principle. I keep saving people's butts. I just keep talking to them, help being of service until they become a client. All right, that was a really long video, but I was super excited about it. And if anybody has any questions, ask me. I'm sure I rushed through it. But if you want to know how this can help you, I can talk to you in more detail about it. And if you're game, just watch the movie first night. It's kind of fun. All right. Let me know if you liked this video. You know, actually hitting the thumbs up if you liked it, or putting in the comments that you liked this video. Okay. Have a great day. See you when I see you.